Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing on this day? This is January 8th, 2025. Hey, it's time for Drive Time Sports Talk here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. And as always, the Missouri State Highway Patrol and Doak Propane remind us, hey, take that 3 seconds and buckle up. It's 3 seconds that could save your life. Again, certainly glad everybody tuned in. My name is Guy Newcomb, a.k.a. the scoreboard guy from the Missouri Sports Network. And just a little background. We started this a little bit yesterday as our local station here after 40 years, or nearly 40 years, went away from Drive Time Sports, covering local sports, and in Missouri and went to a national feed through ESPN that basically I just can't listen to. So, and I don't hate everything on ESPN. I do enjoy Greeny, Mike Greenberg, but he's never there. But anyway, so we're going to give this a try. Just a little bit of background on me. Spent 16 years at ESPN, been on the air since 2007, a former high school educator and administrator at the high school level, former high school coach and college coach as well, played NCAA football and baseball at the collegiate level, and been doing athletes of the week and interviewing coaches from around the state at the high school and collegiate level for many years now. This is 5,500 shows that I have done here since 2007. Anyway, we got our chat line up. If you want to chat, you can go through Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. You kind of send me a message here on things you want to hear about. Going to touch on a lot of subjects today. Don't know how long we'll be with you. This is only the second time that I've done this here by myself on the air without having any interviews set up. You can call in on the show at area code 417-327-6914, and you are welcome to join the show. Hey, and let us know what the audio's like here, but this is Drive Time Sports Talk with the scoreboard guy. Hey, let's go. Let's get it kicked off. Lots of news today, surrounding the Chiefs. There's college basketball that we will touch on. Pro baseball, a little bit that we'll touch on, particularly the Cardinals. And as anybody that knows me, I grew up at Busch Stadium. My grandfather actually built the 66 Busch Stadium, so I kind of had free reign of that back in the late 70s and early 80s. My dad worked for Whitey Herzog as well during part of that time. Joe Buck is a year older than me, so kind of spent some time running around, and I can tell you some stories there, but I guess I can. We're on a podcast, but anyone like to hear those stories, that'd be great. But we were 10, 11 years old at that time. But hey, wherever you may be listening from, we certainly appreciate your patronage here on the Missouri Sports Network on Drive Time Sports Talk. First off, we'll get into a little Great Southern Bank on this day in history. We'll start off on Missouri high school sports history and high school collegiate and professional history presented by Playing on Sports. And you want to tune in every Wednesday to Playing on Sports on Where They Now Wednesdays. And on this date in history, in January 8th, 1886, Thomas Thurston January was born. He was an American amateur soccer player who competed in the 1904 Olympics. And yes, he was an amateur. He was in high school at that time, 18 years old, and he participated for Christian Brothers college team, which won the silver medal in that tournament. He played all 4 matches at a midfielder. His older brother John and younger brother Charles were also members of that silver medal team. Born on this date, January 8th, 1886, died January 25th in 1957. Also born on this date in 1915 was William Walker Cooper. He was an American professional baseball catcher and manager. He played in Major League Baseball as a catcher from 1940 to 1957, most notably with the St. Louis Cardinals, with whom he won 2 World Series championships. He was an 8-time All-Star. Cooper was known as one of the top catchers in baseball during the 1940s and 50s. His elder brother, Mort Cooper, also played in Major League Baseball and a part-time with the Cardinals as a pitcher. He's a native of Atherton, Missouri. Cooper was a solid defensive catcher as well as a strong hitter. Career batting average of .285. He had 173 home runs, 812 runs batted in. And he broke in late 1940 at age 25, and reportedly complained to umpire Beans Reardon about the first pitch he saw. But a broken collarbone limited his play to 68 games in 1941. On August 30th of that year, Cooper caught Lon Wernicke's no-hitter. In 1942, he batted .281 and finished among the National League's top 10 players in slugging percentage, doubles, and triples as St. Louis won the pennant by 2 games. His brother Mort won the most valuable player. Batting fifth, he hit .286 in the World Series against the defending champion New York Yankees, driving in the winning run in Game 4 and scoring the winning run on Whitey Kurowski's home run in the 9th inning of Game 5. And then he picked Joe Gordon off of second base with no outs in the bottom of the 9th as the team earned his first title in 8 years. In 1943, Cooper raised his average to a career-high .318 and was third in the National League batting and slugging and fifth in RBI. As the Cardinals repeated as league champions, he was runner-up to the Most Valuable Player award to his teammate, Stan Musial. In the 1943 World Series, he batted .294 as the cleanup hitter, but St. Louis lost the rematch with the Yankees. In 1944, his average dipped by 1 point to .317 as the Cardinals won their third straight pennant, facing the crosstown St. Louis Browns in the World Series during a World War II season. Again, batting cleanup, he had .318 in the series and scored the team's first run in the final Game 6, and the Cardinals won another title. World War II service in the Navy led him to appear in only 4 games in 1945 before his return. The New York Giants purchased his contract following a salary dispute in 1946. The sale by the Cardinals for $175,000, which is basically $2.8 million today, was the highest cash-only deal ever at that time. Transactions of Joe Cronin in 1934 and Dizzy Dean in 1938 were larger deals, but also involved trades among other players. Born on this date, in 1915, in Atherton, Missouri, was William Walker Cooper. He passed away on April the 11th in 1991 at the age of 96 or 76. My math wasn't good there. Brian Boehringer, he was born January 8th of 1969, was an American former Major League Baseball pitcher. He won the 1996 World Series with the New York Yankees over the Atlanta Braves. He is a 1987 graduate of Northwest High School in House Springs, which is just southwest of St. Louis, Missouri. He attended the University of UNLV. He was drafted by the Astros in the 10th round of the 1990 Major League Draft, but did not sign. Instead, he was drafted in 1991 by the Chicago White Sox the following year, 1991, was traded to the Yankees in 1994. He made his Major League debut in 1995, going 0-for-3 with a 13.75 ERA in just over 7 games. In his Major League first appearance was against the Kansas City Royals. His first batter was Gary Gaetti, who reached on an error. Then he struck out 2 as he just went 1 inning in that contest. Brian Boehringer, obviously still alive. He is age 55 right now, born January the 8th. He will be 50. Well, he's turned 55 today. My apologies. So happy birthday to Brian Edward Boehringer. Today, nationally in sports, Frank Chance in 1913 becomes the New York Yankees manager. Frank Chance is one of the members of the Tinkers to Evers to Chance, the Chicago Cubs double play that set records back in the early 1900s. But Frank Chance is named manager of the New York Yankees on this date in 1913. In 1925, England cricket open batsman Herbert Sutcliffe follows his first innings 176 with a 127, and in the second innings, his team cannot avoid an 81-run defeat to Australia in the second test in Melbourne. In 1945, the University of Kentucky Wildcats men's basketball team sets an NCAA record by holding Arkansas State to 6 points in a 75-6 win. In 1947, on this date, Toronto Maple Leaf rookie Howard Meeker scores 5 goals in a game. On this date, 1955, Furman sets an NCAA basketball single-game scoring record of 154 points. And in 1955, Georgia Tech ends Kentucky's 130-game home winning basketball streak. On this date, in 1962, 21-year-old future Hall of Fame golfer Jack Nicklaus makes his first professional appearance, tied for 50th in the Los Angeles Open. And in 1972, NCAA announces freshmen can now play on teams starting that following fall. And in 1978, American Jimmy Connors beats Bjorn Borg of Sweden 6-4, 1-6, 6-4 to win his first and only season-ending ATP Masters Grand Prix tennis title at Madison Square Garden. And in 1980, on this date, Islander Glenn Resch's 20th shutout opponent, the Canucks, 3-0. 1980, NCAA decides to sponsor women's championships in 5 sports. And in 1984, the AFC Championship at LA Memorial Coliseum, the Los Angeles Raiders defeat the Seattle Seahawks 30-14. And in that same year, the NFC Championship at RFK Stadium in Washington, the Redskins defeat San Francisco 24-21. And in 1984, the NCAA announces that they expand the NCAA March Madness to 64 teams. On this date, 1986, San Francisco Giants' Willie McCovey is the 16th elected to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame in his first year of eligibility. In 1987, Jack Sikma of Milwaukee begins NBA free throw streak of 51 games. In 1988, the 9th largest NBA crowd is recorded at Detroit versus Chicago with 38,873. In 1989, the AFC Championship at Riverfront Stadium, Cincinnati Bengals defeat the Buffalo Bills 21-10. 1989 NFC Championship at Soldier Field in Chicago, the 49ers defeat the Bears 28-3. On this date, 1991, Gaylord Perry, Ferguson Jenkins, and Rod Carew are all elected to the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. On this date, 1993, Michael Jordan's game-high 35 points leads Chicago to a 120-95 win over Milwaukee, giving him exactly 20,000 points in the 620th game of his NBA career, the second fastest to reach this milestone after Wilt Chamberlain, who did it in 499 games. 121 games quicker to get to 20,000 points was Wilt Chamberlain. In 1995, Philadelphia Phillies 12-time All-Star third baseman Mike Schmidt is elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. And in 1996, for the first time in 25 years, no one was elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame. In 2000, the Music City Miracle in the AFC wildcard game, Tennessee Titans defeat the Buffalo Bills 22-16 in the last 16 seconds with Kevin Dyson running the length of the field for the winning touchdown. And in 2008, Joe Gibbs retires again. For the second time as the head coach of the Washington Redskins, Joe Gibbs announces his retirement. In the 2009 college football's 11th BCS National Championship game at Dolphin Stadium in Miami Gardens, number 2 Florida defeats number 1 Oklahoma 24-14. On this date in 2022, Dan Campbell's Detroit Lions finished the season with a 9-8 record, achieving their first winning season since 2017. And now they're 15-1, 16-1, and the number one seed in the NFC. You're listening to Drive Time Sports Talk here on the Missouri Sports Network. We're going to take a quick time out. We'll be back after these messages.
Hi, I'll have the avocado toast minus the avocado.
So, toast.
Yeah. Everything is so expensive these days.
Hey, Chevy gets it. That's why they're keeping prices down to earth, like on the most affordable EV in America. A super strong and capable Chevy truck.
And a high-tech Chevy SUV.
Why is Chevy making affordable vehicles connected by OnStar? It's so together, we can do more.
We believe banking should make your life greater. It starts with affordable options to meet today's needs and tomorrow's dreams. From smart account options that fit your style to flexible loans for what comes next. It means convenient ways to access and manage your money whenever you need it and wherever you're headed. Most of all, it takes great support. Someone you can count on for trusted guidance and to be there for you every step of the way. Great options, great convenience, great support for life. Great Southern Bank, understanding what really matters.
What rhymes with great?
Participate.
Where does greatness start? Here, in the classroom. On the stage.
In the pool.
On the field.
Where will your greatness take you?
To better grades.
To more friends.
Yeah! Be great.
Participate!
Hey, welcome back to Drive Time Sports Talk here on the Missouri Sports Network, MissouriSportsNetwork.com, where everyone has a home field advantage. Hey, do you have an Athlete of the Week nomination? Hey, send us an email at MissouriSportsNetwork@gmail.com. We'll be playing those throughout the weeks here coming, the remainder of the high school sports season, as we're about midway through the high school basketball season. Teams are playing well right now, coming out of the blue and gold and the pink and white, and several. They got 18, I believe I was covering 18 high school holiday basketball tournaments over that week between Christmas and New Year's. And I know majority of it, not all, but there's a considerable amount of schools that are still out, especially if you get up north around Kansas City, as they had one of their biggest snowstorms in recent memory. Schools are still out. And teams are kind of scrambling right now to find games. I would like to say, hey, Mizzou got a conference win in men's basketball last night over LSU, 83-67. That's their first conference win since March of 2023. Yes, I said March of 2023. This is 2025 since they've won a game in the conference. And you got to figure right now, they've got Vanderbilt Saturday at home. That's a win. That's a winnable game. Then they go to Florida. They've got, and I don't know they'll win that game. They've got Arkansas coming in. Then they've got Texas, who's down, struggling just a little bit. And then they've got Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and then they got Tennessee. Tennessee, number one team in the country. But I tell you that the SEC could get 12. 10 or 12 teams, if not 13 teams, into the tournament this year. And it's hands down the SEC, the best conference in the best conference in college basketball right now. Yeah, Mizzou had a horrible year last year and a good year the year before that. But then they went into this transfer portal roulette last year, and they didn't win a conference game. First time since 1901 they didn't win a conference game at Mizzou. So, and that's a long time. I think they've kind of got it figured out a little bit now. You can remember, 2 years ago, K-State went through a very similar thing. They go to the Elite Eight. I think they went 19-10 that year. They make their way to the Elite Eight. Jerome Tang is like the most sought-after coach in college basketball. He turns down I think Ole Miss and maybe Arkansas. Said, hey, we can win a we can win a national championship here at K-State, decides to stay. And he kind of fell into that same trap. Went into the portal transfer Russian roulette, and they're not doing very well. They're kind of struggling right now. It's something that Mizzou went through last year. And Mizzou, I think Mizzou right now can get into the tournament. They're probably a 10 seed or an 11 seed. It depends on how they finish in the SEC. But they're just 1-1 right now in the SEC, so they still got a gauntlet out in front of them. And I just mentioned several of the games that they've got coming up. But if they can play their way in and get a 10 seed and maybe they're a 3-point dog to a 7 seed, maybe they win that game. And we're still a ways out in that tournament, but it's right around the corner. I mean, March Madness, this is January. There's maybe 6 weeks until college baseball starts, where they can open up, and so it'll be a lot of fun once we get that. Another team that's struggling, is Missouri State. Missouri State right now 0-5 in the conference. They've lost 4 in a row by a combined total of like 47 points, and one of those was a 1-point loss to Valparaiso, and that was at home. They got beat 73-72. They lost to UIC last night 80-63. They're not shooting the ball very well. Now they're out Southern Illinois. Then they host Southern Illinois 3 days later. I've never heard of that. And this isn't a snow makeup or a weather. I mean, they go to Southern Illinois, and they might as well just ride the bus back with them, because that's on a Saturday, and then they play on a Wednesday back here at Great Southern Bank Arena. And then they've got they're at Illinois State, at Northern Iowa before they host Drake. And then but this is a long road to hoe. And they're very much in the same thing. They're in a transfer portal roulette right now. They've got a lot of guys that are new to the team. They haven't played together. I think they had one guy coming back off of last year's squad. But, lost 4 in a row. They're 0-5 in the conference, 7-9 overall. They are 5-3 at home, but they can't put anybody in the stands. And I think part of that, number one, they keep televising these games, which is, to me, it's asinine. They say they've got 1,400 people in the stadium last night. There's no way there were 1,400 people with the weather the way it was, and I saw some pictures. That's tickets sold. Those people aren't coming to the game because they can sit at home watching on TV. Just black it out. It makes no sense to me, and there's not any promotion of when the games are, who they got coming in, and I've got my ear to the ground on this, and I don't understand why they keep putting these games on TV and why these games on television and why they're not doing more promotion. Of course, it's 7-0. I think winning cures all ills here, but they are 2 games over 500 at home, but they're just not drawing well. And you saw over the holiday with the blue and gold, people like to watch basketball, especially people in Southwest Missouri, boys and girls basketball. The pink and white had a good showing. You've got the tournament champions coming up here in a couple of weeks. That the largest high school basketball tournament as far as attendance in the country. So people in this area will support basketball in Southwest Missouri if they're within 60 miles and maybe 100 miles. For the blue and gold, they will make that trek. Now, for the tournament champions, there are people coming in from all over the state and all over the country to come into that tournament there. So just need to promote it, and then they need to start winning. And they've got great facilities, and I don't get it. But anyway, and it's just some NFL news. And we'll get to the Chiefs here in just a second, but some NFL news. Number one, maybe the biggest news story of the day was Bill Belichick, being rumored that the NFL coaches or owners now are maybe looking at him to, hey, would you come back? Would you come back and and most notably, it was Oakland Raiders. As you know, Tom Brady is a minority owner of the Oakland Raiders and reached out to him. Hey, would you consider coming back? You know, coaching the Raiders. You know, they're probably going to draft Shedeur Sanders. You come back, you got Tom Brady in the front office. You got Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders maybe on your staff. You come back to Oakland. You're in Vegas. You know, the only problem there is if with this buyout, if that happens prior to June 1st, the buyout's $10 million. After June 1, it's $1 million. But I don't think you can wait till June 1 to hire an NFL coach. The draft will have already happened. And then obviously, you know, having taken the job at North Carolina, and his girlfriend, who's, you know, 50 years younger than him, but she's enrolled in her doctoral program there at North Carolina, probably getting it for free. Well, would she transfer to UNLV if that happens? But probably via his agent today, there was a release later on this afternoon that he is actually recruiting in New Jersey and plans on staying at North Carolina. But is that something that's going to happen in 2025? Bill Belichick back in the NFL? Does Aaron Rodgers retire in 2025? There's all kinds of things that could happen. Nothing would surprise me. NFL games on Saturday, January the 11th. I'll give you the game times, 2:30 p.m. Eastern, and the Chargers versus the Texans. Chargers right now are 2.5-point favorites. Over and under is 45.5. I really like the Chargers here, and that may be the most dangerous team to the Chiefs. Just because the Ravens and the Bills are going to play each other. You know, the Chiefs could face the Chargers, the Texans, the Steelers, or the Broncos in that semifinal or AFC semifinal round. They will not see the Buffalo Bills or the Baltimore Ravens, and the two of them are going to play each other before they get to the Chiefs, as long as the Chiefs continue to win. But I don't. There's the Chargers team. I would not want to see. They're well coached. They've got a good quarterback, probably outside of, you know, Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, and Josh Allen, the best quarterback remaining, you know, on that side. Houston Texans, they've kind of backed into it a little bit. So I kind of like the Chargers in that game. They're 2.5-point favorites. The Steelers are at Baltimore. They're 8.5-point underdogs. Over under is 46.5. You can't ever count Mike Tomlin out, but he doesn't have a great postseason record. He won a Super Bowl. He's been to a Super Bowl. But Lamar Jackson has not fared well in the postseason, and obviously both those teams are very familiar with each other. They play each other twice a year, every year. Denver is at Buffalo. Buffalo is an 8-point favorite there. Bo Nix is going to struggle, I think, in the second half against Buffalo, but I think this will be a shootout. It's just 47.5 is the over-under, but it may go well above that with depending on the weather in Buffalo. But both these teams obviously used to playing in weather that's, you know, cold and snowy. I'm going to take the Bills in that game. And then later on that day, or the second game, the middle game of that is Green Bay at Philadelphia. That's a 3.5-point favorite for Philadelphia. And that's a game you kind of keep an eye on. You know, that's one of the more intriguing games of the weekend, I think, for me, is Green Bay at Philadelphia. Weather's not going to be a factor. I mean, it may be a factor, but it's not going to affect one team over the other. Both of them playing in similar type elements. The other thing is Jordan Love. You know, he suffered an injury on a pass, an elbow injury. So is he going to be healthy? That's the big deal there. If he's healthy, I'd almost pick the Packers there to cover and maybe win the game outright. Washington's at Tampa Bay, and you know, Washington's had a tremendous season. They've got probably the rookie of the year at quarterback. They're 12-6. Tampa Bay's 10-7, but they won their division. Tampa Bay's a 2.5-point favorite. Baker Mayfield is just, you look at Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold and what they have done. These guys were kind of trash quarterbacks. And now they've just kind of resurrected their career. One thing about Baker Mayfield is he is not afraid of anything. I mean, he'll give up his body. He's something else. They are favored by 2.5. I'm going to take Tampa Bay to cover on that game. And then Monday night is the other game that I'm very much interested in, and that's Minnesota at Los Angeles. Minnesota's favored by 2.5, but Matthew Stafford, he's played in the Super Bowl. Hell, I think he won a Super Bowl. I think he beat the Bengals in a Super Bowl. He's kind of had his career resurrected there as well over the past half decade, but Minnesota's, kind of a 2.5-point favorite. I don't know how much they'll be reeling from that loss to Detroit. That game, Darnold, I think, showed a few chinks in his armor in that contest. So I'm going to take Los Angeles there. What are your thoughts? You can type, send us a note here on YouTube or our Facebook channel, and our chat, I guess. You can chat with us. I know we have over 100 people right now watching live, and I know it's 4:00. People are still at work, and they're trying to get some things, wrapped up here on a Wednesday. On a Wednesday here at midweek, and I know there's more snow coming in as well. We talked a little bit about Belichick. If he goes to the Raiders, you look at that division. You got Belichick, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and Jim Harbaugh are all coaching in that same division. Belichick, Reid, and Sean Payton are all Hall of Famers. Harbaugh is going to be a Hall of Famer, just maybe at Michigan. Don't know about the NFL Hall of Fame, but that's going to be the toughest conference, in NFL with regards to coaching staffs. And Belichick kind of downplaying that Oakland deal. Well, Oakland, Antonio Pierce, he wasn't fired until Tuesday. They waited until maybe Belichick had that phone conversation with Brady, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's already in the works. And $10 million to the Oakland Raiders is not worth anything. I mean, that's nothing. And Brady, it has been confirmed, he did talk to Belichick on Monday. So, other stories out there with regards to coaches, Steve Spagnuolo. The Chiefs have been contacted by both the Jets and the Raiders for permission to talk to Spagnuolo. And that'll be this week. It'll probably be a Zoom type deal, but that's the one coach, Spagnuolo, that's somebody as a Chiefs, an Andy Reid or a Chiefs fan, you'd hate to lose. I mean, he was terrible as a head coach. I mean, he was 11-41 in his career as a head coach. Spent some time in St. Louis. Not a very good head coach. But he's a Hall of Famer, defensive coordinator, maybe the best ever. And he's got 4 Super Bowl rings. He's got 3 with the Chiefs and 1 with the Giants, and they're all his defensive coordinators. And in the Giants' case, he beat Tom Brady the year that they went. I think they ran the table in the regular season. But I would hate to see him go. You can afford to lose a Matt Nagy. And you did it with Doug Peterson and Eric Bieniemy. You've lost your offensive coordinators in the past because we know that Andy Reid really is calling the plays. But Spagnuolo, I think, has been given just free reign with the defense. I bet you ask Andy Reid, hey, have you talked to Leah Chenal? He'll go, who's that? Well, is your linebacker? Okay, well, he's number 54. Oh, yeah, I've seen him on film. I mean, he doesn't have hardly anything to do with the defense. So I think that would be a huge blow, I think. And then what about the story with Mike Evans getting his $3 million bonus? And they, that's a play with Tampa Bay that if they throw an interception there and turn for a touchdown, that's going to cost you the playoffs. But they went out and made sure they took care of their guy. And Evans said later that he was going to take that $3 million and go to the blackjack tables. But as we head into this postseason, just things kind of look at right now as far as, Mahomes is one postseason win away from tying Joe Montana for second place behind Tom Brady. Montana was 16, Mahomes with 15 postseason wins. It's you think about he didn't play this week, and Mahomes he's not going to win the MVP. His numbers. The first 6 games that he played, they were brutal, or at least pedestrian at best. But the last 10 games he played, of course, he didn't play that 11th game. But the next 10 games after that opening 6, he threw 20 touchdowns, only had 3 interceptions. They went 10-0. And part of that is, getting the left tackle situation figured out. And that's something the Chiefs are going to have to deal with there, too, is their offensive line here in the offseason with regards to, their contracts. I mean, Nick Bolton, it's his contract year. He's only making $1.5 million. But Trey Smith, their offensive guard, he's making $902,000 on the free market, and he's a free agent. And there'll be people backing their trucks up. I mean, they will be backing Brinks trucks up to sign Trey Smith, and he's probably, looking at the numbers, he's probably a 4-year, $80 million guy. So do you want to put the Chiefs want to put themselves in that kind of cap space trouble? That will put them in some cap trace. Clap. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you know what I'm saying. And then Joe Thuney, if that happens, then Joe Thuney's going to be the 4th highest paid lineman. So he's going to demand some things. And then McDuffie, this is his extension eligible year, which they probably need to go out and get him on a 3-year extension because he's going to top, or at least probably get offers that are going to be in the $20 million range as cornerback. So I don't know, but we and before I get off here, I want to thank everybody, the mailmen, the guys driving the snow plows, the hospital workers, the guys picking up trash this weekend across Missouri. That's not a job I'd want to do. Not only in the snow, but in the sub freezing temperatures. And I know, especially in the Kansas City area, and folks that I've talked to up there, they did a tremendous job on getting those roads clean, and they had a foot of snow. I just got a dusting here, but it was like 8 degrees. But they still picked up my trash, and I still got my mail. So shout out to those guys, that are doing that. And shout out to all of our sponsors here, and our Team of the Week sponsor, Lionel Labor's Local 663, Building, Missouri. Doak Propane, Arrowhead Sports Cards on West Sunshine. Arrowhead Sports Cards, kind of across the street from Bass Pro behind McAllister's. Go buy Arrowhead Sports. Have you ever thought about getting an autographed helmet, maybe an autographed jersey, sports cards from All Sports? Heck, they've even got Pokemon cards in there. So, hey, give Arrowhead Sports a visit. And RBW Agricultural Farm Equipment Sales here in Bolivar, also located in Moberly, Missouri. And you can visit them at rbwag.com. Hey, and again, do me a favor. Go to our YouTube page and subscribe, and go to our Missouri Sports Network on Facebook and like us, and give us a follow at Missouri_Sports on Twitter, and at the Scoreboard Guy. Certainly glad you've all tuned in. Everybody have a great Wednesday. God bless and good night.